recognize Representative Cicilline.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you again for this historic hearing. Thank you to the witnesses for being here. Happy Pride. Thank you for your heroic work around the world. As I was listening to the testimony, it struck me that, there must be a set of conditions in places in Europe and Eurasia that are leading, politicians and state actors to conclude that supporting anti-LGBTQ parties is in their best interest. And so I wonder if you speak to kind of what are the social, economic, and political conditions that are contributing to that, and what are the long-term implications of being prevented from providing positive representations of LGBTQI people, particularly to young people, and kind of the next generation of attitudes. But what's causing this? I think Dr. Domas, you said this is part of a strategy to divert attention from failed economic policies by rallying people around someone that they can create as a villain. I just wonder what other conditions that you're seeing that are leading to this.
If I may.
Dr. Domas, you want to start?
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your question, because it's a very important issue for our countries. And I believe poverty is a big issue, and, economical pressure that people feel, and governments is really looking for some reason and looking for the channel where they can put people's anger, right? And governments in our countries, they really looking at LGBTI people as a group that can be really attacked without any consequences for attackers, right? In our country, for example, and after the pandemic crisis, right, the situation is really not easy. And today we have a lot of young people, new generation, that are really transphobic, that are really homophobic, and are really aggressive towards LGBTQI people. And they gather in groups, they gather even in registered organizations, and they attack LGBTQI events, LGBTQI people, and even people who are not belonging to LGBTQI communities, but look like LGBT, right? So people who look not normal, right? People who are different from the majority of the society. And this is a very, very scary situation right now, because as my colleagues said before, it's not only about LGBTQI group. We are very visible. That's why we are attacked. But this anger is directed on many more groups, like Roma people, like homeless people, and other groups that are not protected. And unfortunately, the government doesn't think about protecting them and about really making the country a safe place for everyone, which is really important for us right now. Thank you.
So can I ask any of the witnesses, I think one of the things that the purpose of this hearing is to think about ways that the United States can partner with our European allies or European institutions like the Council of Europe to promote LGBT equality and dignity. And obviously passing the Equality Act and passing some legislation that will reaffirm our commitment to the principles of equality for our community is one thing. But what other things can we do as the United States Congress to support the work that you are doing? I mean, we're very conscious of not, in many countries, so much of the argument is this is about Western ideas being imported to poison society and destroy your way of life. So we're very sensitive on the way we do it, and we want to be smart about it. But what kinds of things can the United States Congress do to help support LGBTQ plus equality in places where you live and work right now? Bjorn, I think you're on.
Sorry, if I can come in there, I think that legally, indeed, and when we look at Europe, a lot of progress has been made, and some of you have said it earlier. There is a limited amount of work that is possible in that space, albeit it continues to be important, of course, to address situations like in Hungary, like in Russia. I think beyond that, what is important is that we look at how hearts and minds can be won. And in order for that to happen, I think what needs to happen is first strengthening a joint political commitment between countries, and that is where a lot of work needs to happen. And then I think also in doing that, looking at what kind of programming can happen across both sides of the Atlantic that supports the work that LGBTI movements are doing in winning hearts and minds. And there, I think the Global Equality Fund has played a very detrimental role already. But its contribution to the work is still, compared to what other countries do, I think limited. So continuing to grow that, and not just by the work that the State Department is doing, but also the work that USAID is doing, I think is important. And within that, also paying attention to the work that happens in places in Europe.
Thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.